Forget football. It's Sunday night hockey. I'll spare you the Al Michaels impersonation, mainly because it's an organizational sweep for the San Jose Sharks. They win in LA, a beautiful comeback, 2-1 over the Los Angeles Kings. Welcome to this edition of Teal Town After Dark. We are your live and interactive post-game show for your San Jose Sharks. And as always, we look forward to your comments throughout the show. And of course, if you want to be a part of the show, come on, darn graphic work already. No? Oh, all right. Well, first off, make sure you subscribe down below and hit that subscribe button. We're so close to 600. We would appreciate it. Hi there. You can use the hashtag TealTownUSA. You can also follow us on Twitter, on the YouTube page, or on the app to chat with us throughout the night. Also, hit us up on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, and YouTube channels. And there you go. Hi, everyone. It's Eric. You can follow me on Twitter at PuckGuy14. We're about to break down this beautiful Sharks 2-1 win over the Kings. It's always beautiful because we beat LA. And you know what's also is beautiful? The lovely and talented Miss Rocket Backhander.
Hey, I'm the reason your dog ate your homework in the first place, Rocket Backhander. Hey, kids.
And joining us as well, the lovely and talented Alex Martinet.
Hey, everyone. Still don't have stuff on my wall. Day 2. It's like day 40 at this point, but whatever.
He will be taking donations for Shark Store gift cards and Amazon gift cards throughout the night to help him out with his wall.
I wouldn't mind that. That's not a joke.
Geez. All right. Let's break down this 2-1 victory. The Sharks win their 6th out of their last 7 games. They win both games on the weekend. So let's talk about this. Early on, it seemed like the Kings were being dominant throughout. And of course, that mother Fuddrucker, Dustin Brown, on the power play gets his 8th goal of the season. It's his 6th power play goal in his career against the San Jose Sharks to make it 1-0. Rocket, this always seems to do in the Sharks one way or another.
It's power play, Kings. And I hate to tell you this, but Dustin Brown's actually having a decent year with that club. And most of LA is, except for Jake Muzzin, but I digress. Everybody is, all on board with the Kings. And what the thing I noticed tonight is they really owned the neutral zone. Even with the sloppy giveaways on both sides, and the Kings had a couple of really unfortunate ones. San Jose just did not control the puck through the neutral zone at all.
No, I thought they were really sloppy early on with the puck possession, and it showed, especially in the neutral zone, like you said, Rocket. Alex, what did you take from overall that first period where it seemed like the Kings were really dominated? It was 8-4 in the shots, and the DB, Dustin Brown, with the power play goal.
Yeah, the first line and second line got changed up. The first line started with Hurdle, Couture, Pavelski, and second line started with Carlson, Thorin, and Donskoy. And through the first 2 periods, it seemed like that was not working out whatsoever. And then midway through the second period, it seemed like the coach was figuring out or going back to the old starting lines we went through. I believe he went back to Thorin, Pavelski, and Carlson on the right wing. I wasn't too sure if that was Carlson or Donskoy, but again, I think we're only 13 or 14 games in, and it seems like DeBoer is experimenting, seeing what works and what doesn't work. But I hope he keeps on doing that. But through the first 20 minutes, Kings had majority of the chances, and it felt like they were looking for the put-away goal, and they just could not get it.
Yeah. No, they looked like they were trying to finish off the Sharks early, and with that early lead, they were trying to they're trying to slam it in, but the Sharks were hung in there and just stayed with the game. Martin Jones played a pretty solid game overall to keep him in, and it seems like Jones. And correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but it seems like Jones will always let in like one early goal in LA, and then he is just shut down the rest of the way. Rocket.
I can't tell if that's like, a quote unquote Joner thing, but yeah, it does happen. I think that a lot of goalies are like that, though. That first one will rattle you enough to where it'll redouble your efforts to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, Alex, it seems like it does refocus the efforts and get them back into shutdown mode.
I didn't
like
think
that.
I didn't think there was a easy goal or any of that stuff. The first goal was by Kopitar. It was a tip by Kopitar through Dustin Brown, and tip goals are hard to stop. There's just the reason why Pavelski always goes for him. I thought this was another solid game from Jones. He's having a great season so far. I think we look at this game a little bit more closely because of how well Dell performed last night. 40 saves, something like that from last night.
From last night, yeah, it was 40 saves.
But another solid effort. I think if he wasn't on top of his game the first two periods, we definitely would have been trailing. I don't think we would have had the third period we would have had if we were 2-0. And there were a number of chances like at the end of the first and second period where I thought, okay, LA is going to be up 2-0 or 2-1 or be up a significant amount where you might not see the Sharks' legs come back. So,
gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah. No, it was a good run all around for Joner. He made 26 saves on 27 shots overall through the night. Second period, again, the Sharks had these new line combinations, and what did you originally think of them, Rocket, when you saw these line combos out?
I thought about. I'm not a big fan of the line blender, especially because it seems to be German engineered, comes with a 5-year money back warranty, and weighs 35 pounds and is $99 to ship. This blender is a beast, and it's means serious business. And I don't think that it really has too much of a purpose, too much of a long-term place on any coach's roster. And obviously they didn't work because they still got moved around. So I don't know. It's just I don't know if any different combination is going to spark the offensive production that we all expected this team to have by now this season.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like, and credit for the coaching staff to try to do different things to agitate the scoring, but it just hasn't worked out that way. In the third period, PDB did put the lines back together and eventually paid off with Melker Karlsson grabbing the loose puck into the open net from Hurdle and Couture at 5:42 of the third period. The Milkman delivering, Alex.
Yeah, that was with Thorin and Pavelski, or I forget which.
It was Hurdle and Couture.
Hurdle and Couture, yeah.
Yeah, because he had changed the lines back up.
Yeah, a tip goal, or it was a. I'm trying to think what I'm thinking of the Ward goal, but
no, you're thinking of the Ward goal. This one was a loose puck.
Yeah, this was a rebound off of Quick, and he just puts it back home. Yeah, I thought leading up to that goal, the Sharks had the momentum. They had a good circle game around the LA Kings. It felt like they jumped the gun, or at least they had a solid start in the third period that helped build momentum for the first two goals. Back to what Rock said about the line changes, I was kind of surprised about Hansen not being in the lineup. I thought he had a great game against the Canucks. And I like the combo with him and Bodker. I like that combination between those two. It seemed like that was a surprising substitute for this game. But
see, that's I think what Pete's doing is like he's been like, well, none of this works, so what haven't I done? Well, that doesn't make too much sense, but I haven't done it yet.
yeah, and a large part of it is because LeBanc is back in the lineup, and I think De Boer wants to keep LeBanc in the lineup as much as he can. I think he went through a little bit of a slump, and Barry could help to get him out of it. He had like 4 or 5 points through 3 games in the Barracuda. But finding where LeBanc works is going to be the wild card for this line, for the Sharks at the moment, because I do think he's a solid, first, second left winger that will help fill that need that Marl obviously left. But it's just weird, like what's going to happen with him, because I think we have too many LeBanc type people on the team right now. Yep.
Well, it would be nice if they were all like LeBanc, but they just kept producing. Like I don't care if we have a roster full of John Scotts, if all of them get 10 assists and 20 points or 30 goals by March, I'd be okay with that they're super slow and they get a lot of penalties and minutes, but there's no offensive production from anybody, it seems like, what nearly should be this year.
I think a lot of the reason why LeBanc is back in the lineup is because the Sharks need to increase how many goals they're going to get per game. There's something like 25th, 26th. That's just not good enough. And we are a solid defensive team, but we can't live off of 2 goals a game. So a lot of the reason why LeBanc is back in the lineup is giving a little bit of a defensive strength away for offense.
To me, it's a way to pump up the power play on the second unit, I think, and the power play. I mean, they had their best chance in the third period, but they didn't capitalize. But when they did capitalize, was on a tip by Joel Ward, off of his skate at the 12-minute mark of the third period. From Goodrow and Joachim Ryan, 2-1 eventually would be the final score. It looks like they were just coming on strong, their late rocket, after they were outshot 8-4. They evened it up at 19 apiece in the second, and then they came on strong in the third, to the point where I think Randy said the Kings had only had 2 shots on goal in a 10-minute span.
Well, that's good, because it did in the first period. Weren't they saying like the Sharks had something like 8 or 9 minutes without any shots? So as the Kings wore down, then the Sharks kind of found their groove, or they just frustrated the holy hell out of each other so much that they were able to keep the puck out of there. I saw the LA make a couple of really bad giveaways and a couple of unfortunate turnovers. So I can't say that this was all Sharks dominating LA so much as like LA kind of just, they mishandled the puck in a couple of places, missed a couple of really opportune shots, and Sharks capitalized on that. Too bad they couldn't capitalize on their power plays.
Yeah, the power play, oh boy, you could hear AJ beating his drum right now from San Jose, and I live about an hour away. 0 for 3 on the power play. The first 2, I don't even think they made even got a shot on goal. I know one of them they didn't get one at all. The other one lasted, I think, like a matter of 26 seconds, because then Pavelski went to the box. But their last power play, they looked like they had some chances, but man, they ended up having 1 power play shot on 3 chances tonight, Alex. They said they were going to try and make some changes, but nothing's changed.
I think a large reason of the power play, I think the power play isn't performing like we want it to be. I think we always wanted to score, but according to ESPN, the Sharks are 19th at power play percentage. We're number 2 on penalty kill, but it's just.
I have a question about that. Is there any other website that you can give good hockey stats from? Because I really genuinely don't think that ESPN has.
I go from TSN, but if I want just a quick rankings, I go both ways.
I wouldn't trust ESPN's ratings on hockey.
Power play wise, according to NHL.com/stats, the Sharks do sit at 21st now after tonight at 15.6%. On the penalty kill, the Sharks are number 2 in the league, just above the Los Angeles Kings, who sit at an astonishing 91.9%. That is, for Kings fans that are watching, that's a kudos to your team there on that, because 92% is just phenomenal work. If you can get them into the 90s, that's something else.
Yeah, 92%, I believe, and the Sharks have
is number 2.
First on goals against average. So we are a great defensive team. It's just how many goals are we going to score is the issue, and who do you take out of that lineup to increase your offense? And
that's the tough part.
Yep.
And for that matter, to kind of go on that in defensive part of it, the Sharks are tied with Dallas for giving up the fewest goals or fewest shots against in the league. So that's even more better. They aren't even getting the shots on to even get the goals on that sense. So overall, it was a pretty solid night. The shots were 33-27 in favor of San Jose. The Kings did win the face-off battle 52-48. Brown's goal was on the power play, so the Kings went 1 for 4, while the Sharks power play went 0 for 3. The Sharks had 22 blocks in the game to the Kings 14. Giveaways 18-6, and there you go, Rocket. You just talk about how the sloppy play was in the third period. 18-6 in giveaways. That'll let you lose a lead.
Hashtag it was 1-0.
Oh, jeez. Yes, it was 1-0. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. All right, let's check out the chat before we... in the chat, my mom, where's Gentry? He is taking the night off. Let's see here. I'm going to the...
Apparently, I go both ways.
Vic Dahlgren says, shout out to the PK, though. Hurdle, Cooch, Carlson, and Tierney is a strong first 4 on forwards to get those penalty kills in. Yeah. And I gave that dude I can't remember the name of the guy who I asked AJ and the Jerk on the Pucknologist who the new guy is that's coaching their penalty kill unit. And they told me, and I gave that guy my first star because he's doing a really good job.
Fact or fiction, Brent Burns scores his next goal during the homestand. His first goal. It's 14 games, no goals, but
yeah, he's on a schneid, but
the Wookiee Watch.
Yeah, Wookiee Watch will continue. That is awesome, Rocket. Nice. Rocket on fire.
That's not a thing?
It should be.
Okay.
I just say that should be a thing. Let's see what else is we got in the chat going on. The Chris in the chat. Chris, good to see you in here. They go nowhere this season until the power play gets better. I completely agree. I mean, defensively, they're playing probably their best defensive hockey that they've had in their team history, I think. Just with how few shots they're giving up and how many goals against they're giving up. Jennings Trophy potential there, which is kind of an underrated trophy, I think, to the fewest goals given up by the team in the league. Let's see. Oh, jeez. I would say Arizona has the loudest horn this year, but no one has heard it. Ouch. Ouch. Ouch.
Fact or fiction, the bank stays up with the San Jose Sharks.
Fiction.
Yeah, fiction. I don't see it happening that much. I think he might bounce back and forth, though.
Fact or fiction, we see Danny O'Regan back in the NHL lineup this year.
Fiction.
or what, Gen X? We'll go with this one as we continue the fact or fiction portion of the program. Fact or fiction, Randy saw Katy Perry's equipment backstage in LA.
I think he saw her backstage equipment.
Oh man, you guys in the chat are on a roll tonight.
Good night, Puck Mom.
Night, Puck Mom. Go to bed. Yes.
Thank you, Laurel.
Yes. So that's what was happening. Sharks win 2-1. They go to 20 points on the year. They're slowly but surely, after that slow start getting back into things in the Pacific Division, they currently sit at 10-6, good for 20 points. They're third. They're only a point behind Vegas now in the standings and only 4 back of Los Angeles. So now they're starting to come on strong. They've won 2 in a row, 6 of their last 7. Overall thoughts on tonight and on the weekend for that matter, as they beat their opponents by a combined score 7-1. Rocket.
I said this to you guys a little bit before the show, and I'll say this now. I personally, my feelings towards this team are that they are still struggling offensively, but that not all hope is lost, at least until Pete really screws them up. Having said that, I feel like the general mood of this fan base is that everybody has sort of gotten salty and sour and bitter, and not in that umami way, in the rancid garbage way, since the sound beating by Tampa Bay. And I remember we got some ass whoopings last year, the Sharks did, and I don't think that they stung as bad or as long as this loss to Tampa did this year. And I don't know if we are misplacing that bitterness, if maybe there's something else going on that has nothing to do with that loss against Tampa that we're just not articulating well. It doesn't feel like a win. It doesn't feel like an important win. It doesn't feel like progress. It just is like, well, we caught a break until the next time we get our asses handed to us. And I'm not quite sure I agree with that sentiment, but that's generally the overall feeling that I'm getting from Sharks fans. And I don't really understand why.
You're not going to win the fancy game 8-0, and what we've seen with this team, you shouldn't expect it. I mean, you're looking at a team that's going to have, it's going to win those 2-1 battles, and that's kind of what you usually expect come playoff time.
I think there's still somewhat of a hangover from when the Kings came back from 3-1 in some regards. I think people are still kind of fed up of going to the playoffs, make it to the first or second, maybe even to the conference final, and not getting the job done.
But again, I've said you guys beforehand, there are other teams who've been in this league for almost twice as long as San Jose has. No cups. They still got fans who aren't trying to burn it down every year.
I totally get that. But Vancouver, they still haven't won a Stanley Cup. But the one time they went to the Stanley Cup final, it was Game 7, and they felt like that was their year. That was their moment. For the Sharks, I love the Sharks, but every single time, I do wish that we had 3 or 4, maybe even bad years. We're talking Carolina Panthers. We're talking just rebuild years, and we've never had that. We've maybe had 1, maybe 2, but then we bounce back and we're a 90-point winning team. I think a lot of that sentiment is also combined with the Giants winning the World Series in 2010, 2012, and 2014. And then you see the Warriors winning every single year, or even being in the finals every single year. It's just hitting that wall. And come accustomed to it, but I'm also like, I feel like there was such a big relief when we advanced past the conference finals and got to the Stanley Cup. Like there was like this huge hooray because we finally got it. And of course, you know the end of the story. We didn't win it. So I just feel like there's that disconnect between the fan base kind of changing in that moment from 3-1 when the Kings came back.
3-0, but yeah.
3-1, 3-1, yeah.
Gotcha.
It was 3-1 and we should have won.
It's 3-0.
But yeah, it's look, Tampa Bay is on an absolute roll. We're not going to destroy teams 5-0 every night. And I'm not going to answer Hockey Jerk's question in the chat because, you know, we're not playing that team, so I've been told not to say that name. Go ahead.
I just need everything NHL in the chat. You know who doesn't suck? Miami.
Oh gosh.
Oh
yes. But I mean, overall, I mean, this team is a good team, and Chris just said right now, I get the frustration that the Sharks have never won it. However, there's 30 teams, well, 31, Chris, and only one wins it. That's not easy. There's a reason. There's teams who have been around twice as long with no cups.
Bingo. And so why are we, you know, like the only other thing I think that might be more difficult to win than the Stanley Cup is probably the Calder Cup. So they're both hockey. It's not even different sports. So I think as sports fans to like compare hockey to basketball and NASCAR is just unrealistic, not only from a sports perspective, but like just there's no common sense in that. None. It's goofy. It's apples and tomatoes.
Oranges and pomegranates.
Oranges and shoe leather.
There you go. Yes. There you go. Yeah, it's look, I get it. I get it. And like we said before the chat, I think a lot of people see the instant gratification of other teams in the area. And so you know what? It happens, and hockey is way tougher to win a championship. Even Gen X in the chat, you know, saying the Memorial Cup is way harder to win. Absolutely, because you have 3 leagues.
Yeah.
And you're playing it in a round robin tournament. You know, that's crazy. Has
the perception around Barracuda changed since they had that great last season? But are they kind of like, it seems like the attitude somewhat changed regarding Barracuda this year?
Whose attitude towards the Barracuda?
I just, from who I've talked to, it just seems like there hasn't been that excitement regarding Barracuda this year.
I don't know who you're talking about because I think that the Barracuda fans have been very enthusiastic about this club for at least the past 2 years and into this season as well, as they should be.
Yeah.
I think I don't want to knock on the Barracuda because there's still guys that are still making a significant impact, and we'll talk about the Barracuda in a moment. But the Cuda are a good team. They're exciting. I don't think they have the NHL ready talent like they did last year. You know, they
wait. Not ready.
I mean,
all of their NHL ready talent is in the NHL this year.
That's my point. That's my point. You didn't have Timo was on the team last year. Kevin LeBanc was bouncing up and down. You had Heed and Ryan that are with the Sharks right now, or with the Cuda last year, and made them a way better team. And that team is specifically, I think, well, not to think, but are built to develop to get them ready for the NHL. It's not to go after and win Calder Cups. I mean, if you win a Calder Cup, more power to you. Awesome. But the Rocket.
My enthusiasm knows no limit.
Oh
man.
Oh, I'm not even gonna say that.
You shouldn't. It's one of those things where you have to have been there.
You have to be in the chat to see that. All right. So with that, we move on. Earlier today at the Shark Tank, the Barracuda beat the Manitoba Moose by a score of 4-1. Was it 4-1? So they split the series with the Moose at the Tank. So overall, the Sharks organization went 3-1 this weekend. Oh, wait, no, I take that back. They went 4-2 this weekend because Allen Americans won in overtime today. So it was a clean organizational sweep, or if you're in Canada, organizational sweep. So kudos to the Sharks, Americans, and Barracuda on that. Meanwhile, let's go into the NHL wraparound for all the scores that took place in a semi-busy, 4 games on the schedule tonight. And earlier today, it was the Devils beating the Blackhawks 7-5. Holy cow. Wood with the hat trick for New Jersey, along with Taylor Hall, Green, and Hischier, all getting goals for the Devils.
Way to pronounce Hischier correctly. Good job.
I thank you. I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to make Hockey Jerk and Hockey Jerk proud and freaking Gen X to get off my back when I try to say a name wrong. So thank you. By the way, I guess Brody and Kubro are off the air, so welcome to Teal Town After Dark. Just do us a quick favor, hit the subscribe button down below. If you are on Twitter or Facebook, please follow us, like us. We're close to 2,000 likes. We're over 300 likes on the Facebook. Please hit us up there as well. All right, continuing on to the NHL wraparound, the Capitals beat the Oilers 2-1 in a tight checking affair. Orlov with the goal in the third period to tie the game. Kahara, a minute 32 in the third. This game went into a shootout. Holtby with the win to give the Capitals a 10-7-1 record. Capitals seem like they're back in it. Oilers still putting around.
Oilers are playing better, though, the last 10 games. So it's still overtime, so they still get a point. I do think they're going to be this year's Ducks, though. Come back and be one of the best teams in the division.
Do you think they'll be better when Todd McClellan isn't coaching them?
It's not going to. It's not going to happen. He's not going to get fired.
I can't see it, man. If they fire, I can only sense the media tire fire surrounding that team going forward.
If they didn't have this hot streak or winning streak around the Oilers, then maybe. But the team has been doing better. They do also have the best player, McDavid, so he's fine. He's not going to mess it up.
If not, you'll demand a trade to a Sunbelt team. Grow the game down in the South. Wait, oh, sorry, that was 30 years ago. My bad.
What will the more interesting thing about the Oilers is Cam Talbot. Is he going to have a bounce back year, or is he have the slump year? I'm not too sure what type of year we're going to get out of him. So,
gotcha. All righty. Continuing onward, the game earlier this evening down since we're talking SoCal, down the I-5. Tampa Bay comes back and beats the Lightning 2-1. Nemestikov and Brown get goals. What is it with Brown's scoring in SoCal tonight? I don't know. Nemestikov and Brown for the Lightning and Silverberg for the Ducks, as Vasilevsky and the Bolts go to 14-2-2. The Ducks fall to 7-7-3. My goodness, Tampa Bay. Wow.
30 points. 18 games in.
It's unbelievable.
Unsustainable.
That's I was just gonna say, to keep that pace going is just gonna be too insane for them to. They're bound to have a little bit of a fall through, but hey, that's what you build up. You build up a chest of points, So when you do have a little bit of a fall back, you have those to bank on.
But it also depends too on how healthy they can stay throughout the season.
Yep.
Yeah, and they seem pretty healthy right now. Vasilevsky's on a roll as well, for sure.
Tampa's greatest asset is their depth, and I don't think that's going to be if injuries do strike. I think they're going to be able to sustain.
It's their depth and their speed.
Yep.
They're fast.
And they're tall too. So they got all three components.
Chris in the chat, Braun is brown in German. How do you score tonight? That really would have been a thing.
It's true. That's utterly true.
You know.
Well, maybe he will score tonight. We don't know.
Yeah. Oh. To quote AJ Strong, hey now. Awesome. So that is your scores throughout the league on this Sunday night, a rare Sunday night of sorts. And so we look forward to a few days off. The Sharks won't play again until Thursday against the Florida Panthers. And, it's been a long time coming. It's a fan favorite. The return of Michael Haley to the Shark Tank on Thursday. Alex, your thoughts?
Who's Michael Haley again? I'm joking.
And here comes the chat lighting him up. I'm just waiting for that to happen. All right, let me try this now. The return of Michael Haley. Rocket, your thoughts?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see Michael Haley. He was in Nashville, and I got to see him when he was in Nashville, and I was like, oh, I still like him so much, even though he's in a Panthers sweater. Oh, and people around me are like, he ain't in no sweater, he's in a jersey. And I'm like, go back to your sandwich, Bubba. So I like Haley's game. I'm happy to see him again. I'm glad the Sharks fans get to see him again. And like Chris in the chat says, I hope he gets lots of ice time.
Yes. The Sharks need to score. Will there
be a video tribute?
I wish they should.
Is there enough highlights?
Was Haley traded though, or did he go in free agency?
No, he went in free agency.
Okay, well then he should get a tribute too then, because Marlowe left in free agency. So,
Gen X in the chat couldn't afford the greatest player in the world. Haley's just a tribute. Yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised. I can't see them having a video tribute for Michael Haley. If they did, then shame on them for not having one for Roman Polak. Cheryl in the chat, over under on the tribute.
It's gonna go like a minute and 30 seconds.
Yes,
or just 30 seconds. Make sure it's findable.
Or 15 for that matter. You know what? They'll just probably show them on the screen, show the stats. I don't think they'll even break out the Windows movie maker and do that. So they really should. They really should. And if you're going to this game and you have seats anywhere in SAP Center, do your best to hoot and holler and scream and yell when they announce Michael Haley's name, as they should at some point during the game. Just to let them know, there are other players that are not with this team anymore who are nearly as beloved to some people as some other players are.
How are the Panthers doing?
Let me pull it back up here. The Panthers are currently dead last in the Eastern Conference. They are at 5-9-2. So
that's kind of surprising. I thought they had a ton of talent.
They do. I'm just surprised that it just hasn't come around for them. Luongo just came back from injury, and noted former Sharks backup James Reimer was in the way of that while Luongo was gone, and he I guess couldn't handle it down there. And the defense isn't as good as it was with San Jose. Sorry about it.
But also, then they not only was James Reimer a former Shark backup goalie, but didn't Florida pick up another former Sharks goalie on waivers?
Oh, that is right.
Yeah,
that's right. So. Wait a minute. Now we got to get situated here. All right. So, who will start? Will it be Luongo? No, we can't have Luongo. Come on. That would be ridiculous. Can we have it be? Let's just have it go into the morning skate where they're deciding where it's going to be Reimer or Nemo.
Oh God. Oh, I think it would be very entertaining if they put Nemo in net.
Oh man, that'd be crazy. That would be crazy. I mean, and that's the thing too. I mean, do we need to have? Are we gonna have like back to back video tributes? If they're all,
for Reimer and
one for each period, you know?
Exactly. You know.
Yeah, why not? That would be great.
I do somewhat feel bad for how Niemi's being like fan trade wise. Like he had a bad ending, but a great start to.
No.
Come on.
He was a really good goalie for a team that had amazing defense. So the defense made him look a lot better than he ever was.
You could say the same for Nabokov too.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah. So.
But I don't think that any of the abuse that Nemo's getting right now is not deserved. Dallas last year, they had what, 5-6 mil tied up in him? A pretty abysmal performance. This year, Pittsburgh picks him up. They don't even keep him for what, 2 months before they put him on waivers? Yeah, but he's getting a bad treatment from it. No, he's miserable and he should not have an
I'm talking about his tenure with the Sharks, not with what's happened with Dallas and Penn.
Even so, he was never as good as he was with Chicago, except when he was playing against Chicago. And that's because Chicago's defense made him look a lot stronger than he actually was.
He was a Vezina candidate, and he had a solid two to three good years. But it's just his contract was detrimental to the team.
Yep. He was a Vezina candidate in a 48-game season.
Oh,
hello,
Chris says he's bad and he should feel bad.
Goodness. Hockey Jerk has chimed in on this. Oh boy. So Hockey Jerk, let me ask you this, because even AJ was mentioning it in my text. It's like no way 3-way tribute for Reimer, Haley, Nemo, 10 seconds for each. But what about a tribute for Bob Booner?
I think that they should just round them all up at center ice and do a very
and a hoedown.
No, they should get the inflatable chairs out and do a musical chairs with them.
Do a very extravagant ceremonial puck drop. And then they'll cut the puck into 4 pieces and let them all each have a piece.
Well, that would be awfully nice for them.
Okay, sure.
But you know what? All right. If you couldn't tell, we went off the rails like crazy there. So with that, we'll wrap it up. Final thoughts. I'll start with you, Hockey Jerk. How are you?
Oh man, I was sitting in the hangout for about 3 to 4 minutes, and I even said in the chat, I was like, I wonder when they're gonna notice that I'm here.
Oh, we noticed you.
I noticed. I just was like, hey.
Wait, AJ, with this, I'm sorry, Jerk. Round them all up at center ice for the world's biggest chuck-a-puck, and you won't stop any of those either. Wow. All right, wow. Sorry. Hockey Jerk, your final thoughts.
My final thoughts, I agree with Alex. I think the Florida Panthers are doing much worse than what was expected, even with the loss of Smith and Marchessault. And Yager, yeah. They still have a handful of good pieces up front, even with the acquisition of Radim Verbata and Evgeny Dadonov. They're like the Sharks. They're scoring a lot of goals, but they're letting in a lot of goals, and everybody knows about Antti Niemi. I don't know. I was bored, so I just wanted to spout hot garbage, and here I am.
Oh, welcome.
Oh, welcome.
Hot garbage spouting appreciated.
Yes.
The perfect spot.
Yeah, it's true.
Mr. Martinet, your final thoughts on this evening?
Sharks have won last 7 out of 8. Great starts. Yet to go on a consistent road stand, so that's going to happen November or December. But great start to the season so far. Tampa Bay is definitely a black spot, but great victory over the Kings so far.
Yep. Gets that bad taste out of those painful losses, which were only 2 painful losses. So, and final thoughts, Miss Backhander, of course.
Hey, dude, I'm still a Sharks fan, and there's still, a bunch of games in this season. So it's a journey, and it's until playoffs, I'm not really too terribly plussed about anything. Like this is like my soap opera. This is as the Zamboni circles. That's the name of my soap opera.
Nice.
Yeah. As the beards grow, I guess. I don't know. These guys are gonna make some mistakes. These guys are gonna make some improvements, hopefully. And this season will lay the foundation for next year, which will in turn lay the foundation for the year after that, which will be the banner Stanley Cup year. And they're going to sweep everything that year, and everybody's going to win every trophy at the awards ceremony. And I'm calling it now. Yep.
How many years?
I think it was either 2 or 3. So in 2 or 3 years. Yeah.
All right.
Seems realistic.
Let's go to Vegas and put it down, folks, for sure.
The question is, in 2 to 3 years, will the 4th round pick the Sharks get for DeMello be a factor into the Stanley Cup victory?
Yes, he will. He will.
Well, Brent
and then
Burns
they're going to trade him.
It's a little pucknologist joke for you guys.
Yeah.
Yes. Check that out. Check us out. In case you missed anything or you want to hear all this funny stuff all over again, do us a favor. Make sure you hit up tealtownusa.com afterwards tonight. What?
Puck guy, I have 2 questions. I have 2 questions for you.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Number 1, is the website still sponsored by Great Western Bank?
Unlike Great Western Bank, we'll always be there.
And number 2, who did the Sharks beat 5-0?
That's the only reason why he came on, wasn't it?
That's like 99% of the reason.
Well, since I have the controls tonight, you guys can't do anything about it. The Sharks lost. Well, they didn't lose. They beat the Vancouver Canucks 5-0. It was a disaster fest. We'll hear all your calls coming up. You'll probably want to fire everyone, including GM Jim Benning, on TSN 1040 and the Canucks Radio Network.
Yay!
John Shorthouse.
Amazing.
With 3 short-handed goals last night. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Yes. 3 shorties with Shorty on the call. Yes. Oh, man.
And nobody scores.
Nobody scores for the Canucks tonight on the Canucks Radio Network. Man, oh man. In case, let's try this again. In case you missed anything or you want to hear this again, kudos to you if you do. Check us out on tealtownusa.com. My favorite podcatcher. They're all listed below: iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, and YouTube. Oh boy. See, forget football. You have us with hockey. I mean, come on. Seriously. So for Rocket, Jerk, Alex, the entire crew at tealtownusa.com, I am Eric Hura. You can follow me on Twitter at PuckGuy14, and you can follow all of us at tealtownusa on Twitter. We will be back with you following the Sharks game on Thursday night against the Florida Panthers, where the game may or may not be tied up at 2. Waka Waka. Until then, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real teal. Good night. If you didn't catch that reference, look up Randy Mueller on YouTube. Adios.
.com.